He tweeted that, quote, I had a scout tell me he thought Slater might be the next Zack Martin, and we should give that some thought. So, that really presents an interesting angle, Brian, that I had not really considered, that Slater might be as good as Martin. Now, you're talking about guard, a position that doesn't have the value of tackle or wide receiver or, edge rusher, cornerback. It's like in that middle tier of players, but it's still important. And the Cowboys have showed you with the drafting of Zack Martin that it's still important to them. It's probably the third most important spot on the O-line, though, between tackle and center. But to me, if you have a chance to get an all-pro player instead of flip a quarter at a much bigger position of need, I'm going with the next Zack Martin if that is the case with Slater. How about you, CA? What do you think? You can get an all-pro at a position like guard, but you already have a really good one, and then two other really good offensive linemen, so you'd have your fourth great offensive lineman, or do you want to take a shot for a position of need and a guy still with a ton of upside like Surtain or J.C. Horn at corner?
I would go ahead and take that offensive lineman. And I'm don't get me wrong. You got to protect your assets, and I'm talking about your biggest asset is your quarterback. I'm thinking Tyron's still going to be around, but the problem is Tyron hadn't done a full season since 2017, I think. And with that being said, I'm with you what you said earlier, Gavin. Hey, more talent. I mean, put it like this. You move him over, you still got more talent. You still have better talent as opposed to just a guy. And I've actually heard some reports. I heard it on Sean or RJ, but I can't remember who the audio was from. But there's somebody that understands Dan Quinn's secondary and the way he runs things, and it's 85% of the time.
Mike Lombardi.
Yeah, Mike Lombardi. There you go.
Mike Lombardi said that, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Lombardi says 85% of the time they're in a zone. So you won't get the effectiveness of man coverage all the time. So it's almost a waste to get somebody that high at number 10. I would get the offensive lineman.
Yeah. Brian, what do we need to know about this?
Yeah, well, the playing at 85% playing zone or playing or the guard? Which one would you like to know
both
about?
Those.
Yeah, okay.
I think those are both.
Let's start with the guard. And again, okay. I was on the phone last night. Again, this time of year, I'm on the phone way too much when it comes to this stuff. But I love it, and I love being a part of it. And I had a scout last night tell me, he's like, listen, you take Slater, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, the tackle, you take him and play him at guard, you could have the next Zack Martin playing for you. He goes, the problem you can have, though, is he might be Zack Martin at guard, but he won't be as good of a tackle probably because of some of the physical limitations that he might have. So I was like going, wait a minute. No. And the guy's like, no, really? Seriously? And I go, okay, I'm all for the Zack Martin. But he was saying, he goes, listen, go back and look at Zack Martin playing at Notre Dame, playing his left tackle.
Yep.
Absolutely right. There
4
were
years.
There were some physical limitations for Zack Martin. Much better player when you put him inside, though. He went from being a good left tackle to being a all-pro guard. And so I could see where this guy is coming from, but I've seen Slater. I've seen him block Chase Young, and that's who you're playing against. Not every week in the NFL, but that's one of the best ones. Those
twice a year.
Those are the kinds of guys. I watched him play Northwestern versus Ohio State, and it got to the point where they had to move Chase Young to the other side to get a rush. So. I'm like, man, it's him, Penny Sewell, those guys. You could tell me short arms and this and that and the other, but you could also tell me power. You could tell me athletic ability. You could tell me footwork. You could tell me just grip strength. You could, these are things that are all, there. But it was one of those things that made me think.
That's value loss if Tyron can't continue on.
Right.
Then you have this all-pro guard who played tackle in college, but you're like, no, we move him out there. Now we have an average or maybe slightly above average asset.
Yeah, that's the thought. And so
that's not cool.
That's the problem that I would run into. And the whole thing with Mike and the whole Mike Lombardi, and it's funny, I was talking with Mike in the break. I was texting back and forth. But Dan Quinn, as far as what he's going to do, I don't think you're going to see what you saw with Dan Quinn in Atlanta. And hear me on this.
Or Seattle?
No. I think that I think there's going to be some variations of things, some staples that he might have.
Okay.
I think this is the one guy that we heard them talk about fitting the players to the scheme. you know. And so if you have these players, Joe Witt, the secondary coach, you know, you have these coaches that say, hey, listen, we can't play like we did in Atlanta with these guys. We can't play like you did in Seattle with these guys. We've got to figure out these are better man players. These are better. They play better in press coverage than off coverage. Mm-hmm. I don't think Dan Quinn's going to make that mistake. I don't think he's going to. I think Mike has got him wrong. Saying, is he going to play zone and off coverage? Yes. 80% of the time? No, I don't think so. So to me, I will disagree with Mike on that. Like he disagrees with me about San Francisco taking that quarterback at 3. You know, hey, these are the discussions you have. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, though. I feel like, though, to me, the Cowboys, to Jerry Jones, it is in his mind, he has always wanted to keep the front of the pocket clean, no matter who his quarterback was.
Yeah.
Whether it was Romo, whether it was
Aikman,
any of these guys. He felt like, he goes, I'm going to commit to having a place where my quarterback can step up. And if drafting Slater means he could keep the front of the pocket clean with the center and Zack Martin there, I think he's going to consider that. But to me, also, don't discount that. Don't discount that Surtain. That is going to be a strong consideration for them.
I'm glad you came back around to that, because I'm going to go ahead and put Slater in a group of 2 with Pitts as far as realistic offensive players that could be there at 10 that I'm probably taking over Surtain. And a lot of that is what you just said right there at the end. You know, if you're going to invest this much in your quarterback, wide receivers, and running back position, you better be able to keep it clean, and you better be able to open holes. Right now with Broaddus and Connor Williams or McGovern in the middle and on the left side, it's going to be a scramble. A lot of plays. You're going to be like, oh, crap, it's breaking down. And some games, especially games with good defensive tackle play, it's going to be all 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And I think you can try to build a defense hard, use all of your assets, and still end up with a crap defense. You take another Zack Martin at 10 and put him there at guard, and your offense is cruising, man.
Yes.
You're looking at like, oh, iceberg ahead. It don't matter. We're going right through the effing iceberg.
Right.
You know, I think that much about the skill players and the linemen they already have.